Right boys, so I got a quick little lesson that dawned on me earlier. I realised I needed to do a bit of a dopamine detox, where I've been trying to learn about how YouTube works and just other general like health things as well. Just any type of research really usually involves going on the computer, watching YouTube videos, and where I'm posting to social media I tend to check Instagram and YouTube quite regularly, and I realised I was using it a little bit too much and consuming content rather than just producing it. So I decided I need to do a bit of a dopamine detox. And you know, there's a technique they use that casinos use with fruit machines. When you pull the lever, you don't know what the outcome's going to be. I think it's intermittent reinforcement or delayed, I can't remember the term, but when you open up Instagram, there's like a slight delay before it gives you how many likes you've got, so you don't quite know how much dopamine you're going to get. So you know you're going to get some form of dopamine. You're going to open the app up, you're going to have likes or comments or something, or there's just hyper stimulating videos on there, so you'll see some crazy videos that you wouldn't see otherwise unless you was, you know, human experience is quite mundane unless you're in war or some sort of battle or something. Then you'll see something horrendous. But with social media, especially like Instagram Reels, you can see one after the other of quite crazy videos, and it spikes dopamine in the brain. So I decided to go on a bit of a detox. So I'm only using technology when I have to or for work. And I realised I sold my car recently, so I had to take my bike down to the local farm. I needed butter and beef, and normally I'll order beef, so if I order it I know it's going to be in there. I go down on the day that I said I was going to and pick up the beef. But sometimes I'll just go down and there'll be beef in the fridges or there isn't, so it's like hit or miss whether it's there or not. And I knew I needed butter today, so I've gone down on my bike, which is extra effort because normally I'd drive down. And it's the same kind of dopamine hit, or it's a natural dopamine hit. So when you're on social media, it's unnatural because they're engineering it. Technology companies have engineered it so that you get huge dopamine spikes. And you have to do very little to get them. So you just sit there mindlessly on your phone and get these dopamine spikes, which would have been used as a reward mechanism. Whereas today, I had to get on my bike in the wind and cold, cycle down to the farm, hoping that there's beef there. I needed butter anyway, so I was just going to buy butter, but hoping that there's beef there. If there was beef, I would have got a dopamine spike, and if there wasn't, then I don't get that reward circuit firing off. Turned up, no beef in the fridges, which is fine because I'll get them later on. I'll order them and pick them up at a certain time, but I'll have to cycle down again and pick them up. And there could have even been no butter. So I got a little bit of a dopamine spike, like a survival response for picking up the butter. And then I have to wait. And that's how life works. Do you know what I mean? You have to wait, and I'll get the dopamine spike in a week when I go down and get the beef. But that's normal. Whereas with social media, you get that dopamine spike all the time, whether you've put in any kind of effort or not. And that's not good for your brain. So that's why dopamine detoxes are necessary. And I'll just give you another example. I'm down the beach, so after I went for my ride down to the farm to get the butter, I thought I'd just cruise along the seafront because it's really nice down there. And again, this is real dopamine. So I've had to leave my house, go into the cold, do some form of exercise, and then I'll show you the dopamine payoff that I get. So that's the dopamine payoff. So that's nature and it's a beautiful view. But you get that, I've had to put in a certain amount of work to get it. Whereas if I'd have just gone on Instagram and typed in beautiful pictures of the Isle of Wight, I could have got a picture that looked better than that, because it would have been enhanced with Photoshop with perfect lighting, and a photographer would have spent a lot of time getting the perfect shot. And I'm sat at home, I haven't done any exercise or exposed myself to any elements, and I can see a beautiful view like this. So that's the difference. It's easy dopamine, cheap dopamine, versus dopamine you've had to earn in a natural way. And this is natural. Sometimes you're going to go to the farm and the beef's not going to be there, whereas on Instagram the beef's always there, if you get the analogy. So yeah, that's the thought of the day. Easy dopamine versus dopamine you've had to actually earn. Have a good day, boys. See you in a bit.